Infinite state.
Infinite state.
Infinite state.
Infinite state.
Move into a new reality and upgrade the way you interact with the world.
I want to make a statement, and then I want to explain the statement. And the statement is going to be an odd one because this is kind of a new field of science and of studying the mind and the body. I'm going to make the statement of your thoughts are making you sick. Let me say it again. Your thoughts are making you sick. You might say, why, Tyler, are my thoughts making me sick? Well, there's an interesting field that is really growing right now, and Deepak Chopra really talks a lot about this, but it's called Psychoneuroimmunology. Psychoneuroimmunology. And what that is a way to explain how our mind and our body are connected. Now, we do know that our words and our thoughts and everything can have an effect on our emotions and our being. But another way to look at it is the body keeps the score, where it talks about how your emotions are stored in your body. And I'd like to even go further and say your emotions are actually stored in your organs. And I'm a firm believer that you can track emotions to the organs, and I can verify that with the Taoist Chinese medicine, where they believe that too. And I've actually looked back at my trauma in my life and in my family's life, and I've been able to track emotions to a cancer, to a heart disease, to an addiction. And to me, they live in those organs. So that's the first statement. Now, if we believe that they live in the organs, and you can believe whatever you wish, but I recommend reading The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. It's the Bible on that. And he has great studies, especially with Vietnam vets, where he shows this very thing. But I believe it because I've seen it in my own life. I've cured asthma in my body by setting boundaries. I've healed addictions in my body where there's been anger there's been depression there's been sadness, where drinking would affect my liver, which is where anger was. So it's interesting that our addictions actually can feed that particular organ as well. But to go even further, if we have a thought that we're addicted to, or an idea that we're addicted to, that's something that is our body doesn't want to get in there. So something like, I'm worthless. Body, you hearing me? I'm not worthless. I'm just using this as an example. Side note, I always struggle with saying things like that because I do know that my body listens, and I want to make sure that it knows that we're using it as an example. So if you say that in your mind, and you're funneling that in your mind, what happens is a thing happens where when we get a cut, like say you cut your finger, and it inflames, and then it closes and eventually heals. Well, the first thing that happens is when you get a cut is there's proteins that get sent to the cut to make it inflamed, to bring more blood flow to it, and then also have things come to fight the infection, right? Because we have an open wound. It's a call to the immune system. It's saying, come and fix this cut, clean this, take care of any type of germs. Well, what happens when we have negative thoughts is a protein called a cytokine appears. Your brain creates it, sends it through the body, and what happens is when we have a negative thought or a negative emotion, that cytokine goes, oh crap, we have to send something to our kidney because they're angry, or the liver, or the heart. And what it does is it gets there, and then it brings all this inflammatory energy and inflammatory proteins and different types of things that will try to heal this thing. And it inflames that organ. It inflames your heart. It inflames your liver. It inflames your kidneys. You name it. It can inflame your endocrine system. I'm a firm believer that your thoughts cause your thoughts cause autoimmune disease. And there is evidence that that's the case, or trauma causes autoimmune disease. Because what is that? It's the body attacking the body. And if your thoughts are negative, and you're literally attacking your body with your mind. So I really urge you, we're not going to get through life without having negative thoughts. I'm not saying that everything's rosy and positive, but to stay in that cycle and to allow that spin and that process, it's actually making you sick. And it actually has been proven, I promise you can look up the studies, to cause heart attacks, to cause heart disease, to cause cancer, to cause depression, and to cause, there's so many things that if you just believe it to be true, or if you believe that, like we had talked about the nocebo effect earlier, where your negative diagnosis of something can actually cause it to be true, even though there might not be anything there. Like I explained how the gentleman had a tumor in his throat, and the doctor told him there was a tumor in his throat. So he did chemo, and then he passed away because the doctor said he would pass away in 2 months or whatever, and there was no tumor in his throat. We can make things up, and our body goes, well, if that's the case, then that's what's happening. And our thoughts do the same thing. So maybe take a moment if you're feeling a certain sickness, like if you're feeling something in your lungs, if you have an addiction to smoking, the lungs, it's very tied in together, of course, because you are sending something that's inflammatory to your lungs. But then also, what thought goes along with that? Like, what causes you to want to smoke? Why do you have that addiction? Why do you drink? Why do you have an addiction of getting angry? Why do you gamble? All these different things, they're all kind of connected to addictions, but also to sickness. So watch your thoughts. And my greatest thing I can say is don't wallow in them. And I will say this. It's easy to say, don't wallow in them. But I do have a way that you can not wallow in them. And this is what works for me. But it is proven that journaling can actually stop your spin. And I've had friends that have had this been an amazing breakthrough, and it's been an amazing breakthrough for me. And I will say, if you need to type on a computer or a laptop or whatever, that's fine, but you're not getting it out of your head. It's like it stays in your head and it's spinning and spinning and spinning. And until you write it out physically in a journal, it's coming from your mind to real life, and it's happened, and your brain goes, okay, we can stop spinning. And I've had this where I'm just spinning on something so bad, and I'll fill a couple of pages, and I'll say, okay, I feel better about that. And the sooner you can stop the spin, the sooner those cytokines are not getting put together so that they can send them down to your organs, send them down to your body, and try to fix an emotional or heal an emotional wound. Because that's where we get to a situation in the Taoist medicine where you're actually causing disease just from your mind, and you're causing disease because the emotions are stuck there, or you're having an emotion that's sending it to a specific organ. So be mindful of a spinning mind, a busy mind, that mind that just can't let go of something. Whether it's a self-worth issue with yourself, whether it's how somebody did you wrong, whether it's how you're screaming at somebody when you're driving your car because they cut you off, and you ask yourself, why am I doing that? And all that it's doing is telling your body that, okay, we're not safe, we got to send the signal, and then you get the inflammation. So be mindful of your thoughts, and I urge you to try and utilize journaling. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You can just do it on loose leaf paper. I have a journal that I keep on me, and I put the date on there, I put the time, so I'm aware of how I'm feeling. I put my feelings up on it, and then I just write. And it doesn't need to be clean. Some of the stuff I go back and read and say, who the heck wrote this? But it was just flow from my mind. And all the spinning that was doing was just get it out, get it out, get it out. And when it's out and it's in the world and it's real, the spinning stops. I don't want you to be sick, but your thoughts are making you sick. They absolutely are. And as more research comes out about this, I really believe people are going to understand, just as our food network and stuff is also making us sick, absolutely 100%, that some of the industry is hopefully going to get solved as well. But it's causing things like sadness and depression. Like, it's been proven that folic acid can cause ADD or depression. And what that does is cause negative thoughts. So the food does affect it, but also it leads to thoughts. How many of you have had sugar crashes or sugar and just, or you ate too much of a whole bag of chips and you're like, oh, I feel terrible. I feel terrible about myself. Those things are the things that are going to make you sick, along with the food. Of course, we all like some chips every once in a while, but don't eat the bag. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of your day-to-day and how you're thinking and what you're thinking about, because I want you to be healthy. The world wants you to be healthy. And there's no reason to go through life wallowing or spinning in negativity, because your body knows and your body wants to process it. So happy processing. Watch that spinning mind of yours, get a journal, and just get it out of your system. You're going to be just as healthy as if you had an apple, an orange, or kale. It's like, journaling is like eating kale, but it tastes a lot better. Not a super fan of kale, but if you love kale, awesome. So happy processing, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love. Tyler Summers here. If you enjoyed that podcast or the content of that podcast, I would love it if you went to infinitestateapp.com. I've developed an app with powerful tools that took me from this guy with an oversized ego, depressed, victim, anxious, fearful, jealous, envious, reactive, pessimistic. I was an addict, to this guy. Unconditional love, loving others, feeling light, hopeful, joyful, energetic, purposeful, more emotionally intelligent, and learning from what the universe offers instead of being a victim. www.infinitestateapp, you'll be able to download for free this powerful tool, always free. And if you want, there's a premium subscription that gets you access to 170 plus meditations, 2+ hours of course content, and over 300 journal prompts, all to help you sleep better, relax, feel less anxious, less procrastination in your life, be more productive, have emotional release, trauma healing, addiction healing, and manifestation. And my favorite, emotional intelligence. So head to www.infinitestateapp.com and grow your mindfulness muscle with all of these powerful tools. Peace and love.